Wow. Tell me about that. Tell me about what makes you say it's economically poor, even though it is culturally rich? Centuries. And that's something that, I was going to actually ask you about because, it's obvious that the landscape is inspiring and it is a destination for artists to, channel their energy and, you know, paint what's on their mind's eye or on their heart. And it's clear that, with such a heritage so rich, centuries rich, it's unfortunate that history repeats itself in the sense of, where you have the most value from, human health, spiritual. You don't have the economic support systems that's needed. And I'm curious to know, like, what's being done to strengthen, be it tourism or cinema, something that's going to create more economic activity to drive more people to go to the Rio Grande heritage.
And it isn't even so much that it's here, it's getting in on campus. You aren't just circulating the college of first year in the area.
Hmm.
So, you know, one,
Right.
um, well, we do
Hmm.
have a team people in the region to take stuff. But later, California, so people who
Breaking that cycle of poverty is something that um, is part of the reason why I felt there was an incredible opportunity to talk with our friend Eric here from the Rio Grande Heritage all the way in the Southwest because it definitely relates to what's going on not just in his area but around us here in the Northeast. And
have
hearing about that cycle of poverty, housing, jobs, joblessness, hopelessness, there are things that fill the void, be it violence or drugs, which we'll touch upon in a moment. But what I'm really struggling with is, you have such yeah. What do you do about it? And you often hear about great starts and then there are stops because I was reading that there was a lot of attention and investments being made into Los Luceros, a beautiful historic site. I believe it was the site of the finale of Blacklist, if I'm not mistaken. Uh,
it's been this news for a long time. And
and
this yeah,
But for people that are not aware of Los Luceros and people are not aware, there was a huge effort by one of New Mexico's former governors to reinvent the Rio Grande heritage area. And it was off to a good start. I believe Robert Redford was involved and it looked
right.
like it was going to, turn a corner to bring those opportunities, but somehow it stopped. So I'm happy to see that Blacklist went back and cinema is looking to make a return and your advocacy continues. But can you tell everybody before we get to this quick commercial break, what Los Luceros is, and then let's pick up what we put down on the poverty part for the next segment. So just for everybody that's listening, tell everybody what Los Luceros is.
Okay, so they're pretty, yeah.
Now, speaking of the soul, is it true that ghost hunting happens at Los Luceros? Is there a ghost there?
They cannot say another thing. He's slowly come away.
So the is it La Llorona? Am I pronouncing it?
Not even on.
La La Llorona. That is the
Yeah,
most
yeah. And
and
not the only one.
I know, no, no, I know. But for people listening, they're fascinated by the fact that there's ghost hunting there, and now you have a whole um, contingent of people asking, "How do I get out there? How do I find it? What other ghosts are there?" And that's I also want to make sure you know everybody. There's a lot going on at the Rio Grande Heritage, and you have to check it out. It is a phenomenal national treasure that we have to, strengthen our relationship with. One, but two, there's a lot to do out there from the art. And, look, I like to eat. And I'm pretty sure there's some great meals out there that can't leave us out there hungry. Now, talking through, this ghost hunting thing. You mentioned there are other ghosts. What
Yeah.
other ghosts would come to mind?
Probably.
Hmm. So they say, and these spirits are, you know, s- they don't want to let go. That's how dedicated and how beautiful this place is. They don't want to go. Don't change that
Yeah.
dial. Don't you go because we have more to pick up with Eric Vasquez, the executive director of Rio Grande Heritage, a congressional area that's been designated for its rich culture, contributed to our history. Don't change that dial. We'll be right back.
XWVOX. There are quite a number of neighborhood flower shops around Westchester County these days. As in all things, some are better than others. And in the Colonial Village Shopping Center on Cooper Street in Scarsdale, just to the north of New Rochelle, there exists a florist of very great style and renown. Colonial Village Flowers specializes in beautiful seasonal flowers arranged in good taste, with the lovely low-key result that all Colonial Village presentations, bouquets, and arrangements look like they were actually grown, collected, and gathered in the natural setting of your own garden. Good taste in flowers has for years been a special trademark of Joe Ward and his talented floral arrangers at Colonial Village, featuring the natural look without pomp or ceremony. So please know that there is at least one flower shop on your classy wavelength. Joe Ward's Colonial Village Flowers at 1515 Weaver Street in Scarsdale. Call 723-2888. That's 723 a 2 and 3 eighths.
Have questions about Medicare? Ask Medicare Mark. Tune in to WVOX AM 1460 as licensed agent Mark Brownstein hosts his monthly segment, Medicare Mark on the Air, covering a wide range of insights. Medicare Mark offers high value for anyone seeking practical and reliable information, guidance on all things Medicare. You don't want to miss it. Hear from your local Medicare specialist at 12:30 p.m. on the second Monday of each month, right here on AM 1460 Radio.
Be sure to listen to 1460 WVOX every other Wednesday at 5 p.m. for Divorce Dialogues with Catherine Miller. Catherine invites you to join her as she interviews guests on divorce, relationships, the emotional life during and after divorce, and so much more. Catherine's passion is to change how people divorce. That's Divorce Dialogues with Catherine Miller, an attorney specializing in family law at the Miller Law Group in New Rochelle. Listen every other Wednesday at 5 p.m. on
Hey, Richard. Well, the best way I can think of it is the internet, WVOX.com.
Okay.
That's about it.
All right, I'll take it with it.
Okay.
I'll take it with. I haven't really thought about that until now, but I'll take it with.
here with Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here, and we're here every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. asking the question, what happened here with a particular situation or issue or, something that's happened to the news. And this week, we have with us, we're asking the question, what happened here with the Rio Grande Heritage Area? What happened? It's a beautiful national treasure that was designated by Congress in 2006. As our special guest, Eric Vasquez, is describing to us the history, the culture, and also the massive size. He said it's the size of Connecticut and Rhode Island put together. This area is a place to be explored and visited and also respected. There's so many things that have happened from a national standpoint at Rio Grande Heritage Area. But there are some other things that we want to, confront and talk about because while it is in the Southwest, it is very much connected to the Northeast, and the struggle is real. The issue of poverty or housing or lack thereof remain a challenge, a common denominator across the country. And for some of us, I was talking with John Bailey the other day from White Plains Citizen. He was already rightfully, voicing his outrage about the latest utility rate hike. Utility rates are going to go up about 15% starting in December, right around Christmas time. Talk about cold for Christmas. Or so when you have, issues or you have things that increase the cost of living from inflation to now higher prices for energy, it definitely squeezes the margins of everyone and really puts us in a tough place because it makes life in America hard to make it, especially in the Northeast. Now, to hear in the Southwest, beautiful Rio Grande Heritage area, to know that the similar cycle of economic difficulties exist. I just want to take a closer look at some of those dynamics, but also ask about what's really what's not being addressed, and that's something that we all need to know, not just for our standpoint here in the Northeast, but out in the Southwest. So, Eric,
Yeah.
I saw the history. If you can just remind everybody about all the attention the state of New Mexico was giving to your area up until a certain point. Can you bring us back in time to, you know, the the seeding
So,
and the vision that was shared with Robert Redford to build out the area? And then can you
so we're
tell us?
talking, uh, so we have been talking about theory.
So politics put it on hold.
Different countries,
Different priorities.
different times.
So
We're,
we're back at go.
we're back at the
And,
players are still the same, a little bit older. To,
well,
and
I'm excited. Don't give up, never quit. That's a endurance.
they
And
have to win one.
and all I can tell you is that I hope that's right. I hope that the state, really writes it into, a stronger set of legislation to protect and continue to reinvest in the heritage area. But before we come back to these topics, we have to take a quick commercial break. Don't change that dial. We're about to dive into the Rio Grande heritage area a little bit deeper and its connections to the Northeast. Don't change that dial. Take a look at this cake.
Whitney Radio has some very good news for anyone who wants to keep their car looking like new after an accident. New Rochelle now has its very own high-tech modern body repair shop, and your car is in for a real treat. Laser Frame and Body Repair is the name of this spectacular new entity, and it's just around the corner from our radio stations on 74 Potter Avenue. Owner Martin Goldsmith's new Laser Frame and Body Repair is now open, specializing in foreign and domestic automobiles, and they're even an authorized Lexus repair shop. Laser Frame and Body Repair guarantees all work done to your car and offers free estimates, and they also make it easy for you with free pickup and delivery and 24-hour towing. So if your car needs some cleaning up after an accident, rely on Martin Goldsmith's new Laser Frame and Body Repair on 74 Potter Avenue in New Rochelle, just off Fifth Avenue. They know the business and they know how to get your car back on the road looking like new. The number is 914-632-8100, 632-8100. They take great pride in your car, and it shows. Laser Frame and Body Repair, now open on Potter Avenue in New Rochelle.
I'm Lucree Ortiz, President and CEO of the Yonkers Family YMCA. Join me on my show, Leaders with Heart, Mondays at noon, right here on WVOX. Hear leaders from various industries and learn how they put their heart into their work. Our show is generously supported by our partners at Yonkers Honda, a family-owned dealership since 1923, celebrating 100 years of service. That's Leaders with Heart. Join me on Mondays at noon right here on 1460 WVOX.
Be sure to listen to 1460 WVOX every other Wednesday at 5 p.m. for Divorce Dialogues with Catherine Miller. Catherine invites you to join her. She interviews guests on divorce, relationships, the emotional life during and after divorce, and so much more. Catherine's passion is to change how people divorce. That's Divorce Dialogues with Catherine Miller, an attorney specializing in family law at the Miller Law Group in New Rochelle. Listen every other Wednesday at 5 p.m. on 1460 WVOX and WVOX.com.
And now with your latest up-to-date forecast, here's Steve Pellettieri's Eye on Weather on 1460 WVOX.
Forecast for Westchester County in the area for today. We'll see partly sunny skies, east breeze. Temperatures will be on the cooler side. Hot will climb into the upper 70s. Mostly cloudy weather this evening, upper 60s near 70 through the overnight. Partly sunny weather continues on Thursday. Slight chance of a shower thunderstorm. Our temperatures will climb close to 80. 30% chance of thunderstorms on Friday, especially in the morning hours. Partly sunny in the afternoon. Highs lower 80s. Weekend weather looks sunny on Saturday into the upper 70s near 80. Mostly sunny, warmer weather Sunday, upper 80s. See Pellettieri, June 1460 WVOX, a Whitney Global Media Station.
Hometown radio for you and yours. So one and only one. 1460 WVOX.
1460 WVOX.
And now back to What Happened Here with Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here on 1460 on your AM dial, worldwide at WVOX.com. We're here every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. asking the question, what happened here? What happened here with? And this week's topic is the Rio Grande Heritage Area, led by Executive Director Eric Vasquez. And if you want to learn more about the Rio Grande Heritage Area, you can go to www.riograndenha.org. Again, that's www.Rio Grande, N as in November, HA.org. It's a phenomenal national treasure that we're able to explore. And in the previous segments, we were talking about its history, its assets of not just art and architecture and culture, but also for those that want a little bit more of a thrill. Ghost hunting happens there. So you got to check it out and see, the history and know that some of the most famous or infamous, depending upon your relationship to um, ghosts, are there, and highly encourage you to take another look. And right before we went to break, we talked about how what's missing and what's coming back. Um, the Rio Grande Heritage Area had a huge support from the state that stepped back for a while, but now it's back and they're starting to go forward again. And as Eric, put, all you got to do is win once, and it's winning time now. Not just on HBO, but it's winning time now for Rio Grande Heritage Area. So definitely, what's next for the Rio Grande Heritage Area? What do you see that's
So,
around the bend? What's coming this way?
yeah, so what we already talked about is how growing an economy or growing a community really happens you're trying to do it. And so we're no longer trying to replace an art science because through history.
Tell us a little bit about, the heroin and fentanyl epidemic. What do you think is driving that? What's been the impact? Having the highest rates is one thing, but there's still a human toll. Can you tell us like what's filling the void? What's happening with even the children in the community? Missing an entire link in the family chain. It definitely makes it very difficult to keep pulling forward when you have on many levels. And part of it is, as you pointed out, is that there's nothing there, and the escape for the parent is drug abuse or some other type of addiction because there's nothing there to fill that void, be it fulfillment or actual work, because the work has been disinvested in, it's almost been disinherited. So you're leading poison. Yeah, the poison that has prevented them from seeing that they're powerful. So I'm curious as to what has been the response from the state of New Mexico or the county that you're in. Has there been a meaningful, or has there been enough of an effort to try and, you know, enforce some stronger standards to prevent the fentanyl and the heroin from even getting in the first place? Hmm. Layers and years, yeah, layers and years of, yeah, this is going to take some time, and it's really discouraging to know that, you know, you have such um, such rich history and culture, and it's a poverty mindset that is preventing the people of the area from really discovering that there's so much more to do than just get high and abuse drugs. And I'm curious to get it, Eric. I'm listening to you. Wow. and but that preservation is so important. And my, hat goes off to you for the work you're doing to, engage and try and re-engage people into, the historical meaning of their culture and their society, especially as it exists in within the bounds of the Rio Grande heritage area. I'm just fascinated by the fact that you have close to 80% of grandparents watching their grandchildren. Now that's in some of the communities. I mean that is a staggering, statistic. And what I'm really curious about is, you know, ha what is the response from the children? Now I know that's a loaded question because you have some children that are aware, some that are not aware. You know, what's the path to try and break that cycle? Um, I know you mentioned that there are programs that you're running, but yeah, we fund some programs. We could still. Takes a few seconds to get it. All right. Yeah, yeah. What happens next? And that's what really, is very concerning because knowing that gap and the reality of life, we all have limited time, and that's where I'm just, really struggling. And that's why I wanted to have part of this conversation with you because people here in the Northeast facing a similar situation, but similar dynamics, but you know, we're still dealing with the fact that there are grandparents raising grandbabies, and the reality of father time is just a real discouraging situation to confront. But knowing that there are organizations like yours, organizations that your organization supports to try and assist these families to, you know, uplift themselves as much as you can is a tremendous story that definitely deserves a lot more attention and time. And that's why I wanted to have you on to kind of talk about the realities of having such a great space, but still having to deal with a very challenging situation that's making, progress, um, you know, incremental, I'd say the best. Yeah, and we're not. Hmm. And, before we get to this break, I wanted to ask you about, um, can you tell us, just for those out there listening, or if you want to call in and ask a question, the phone number is 914-636-0110. Again, it's 914-636-0110. Can you just paint everybody a picture of the landscape for a moment? You mentioned you have a huge, um, I see. Is it sand dunes? Is it forest? Tell us a little bit about the landscape and the topography. We have those kinds of one. Hmm. Well, I'll look forward to examining a little bit closer when we come back from this quick commercial break. Everybody, don't change that dial. Listening to Eric Vasquez, the executive director of the Rio Grande Heritage Area of national treasure that we have to keep exploring. Don't change that dial. We'll come back from this quick commercial break.
This is VOX.
Okay, girls, ready to go? Yeah. Mom, I'm hungry. Can I have a snack? Me too, Mom. You want a snack? Yeah. Got it? Children learn from our behaviors. I can't open this. All right, hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay, here. Thank you. They learn what is okay from the adults they see. Mommy, are you on your phone? If you're a distracted driver, chances are they will be too. What kind of driver are you raising? Traffic Safety Committee.
The nicest two people on the radio. Dennis. Nasty. Tommy. Precious. And Good Morning Westchester. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9. Right here on 1460 WVOX. 1460.
And now back to What Happened Here with Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here on 1460 on your AM dial or worldwide at WVOX.com. Now, the phone number to call on is 914-636-0110. Again, it's 914-636-0110. And before we went to break, we were talking about with our very special guest, Eric Vasquez, the executive director of the Rio Grande Heritage Area out in northern New Mexico. Um, Regarded as New Mexico's Northern Star. Um, Before we went to break, Eric was telling us about the topography, the landscape, the beauty the of the Rio Grande Heritage area, and you mentioned that there are quite a few heritage areas in New York, and I just want to name those. There's the Champlain Valley National Heritage Partnership, which goes between New York and Vermont. There's the Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor. There's the Maurice D. Hinchey Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area and Niagara Falls Heritage Area. So we got to get to know those locations around us as well. But right now we're taking a trip out west, southwest to the Rio Grande Heritage Area. And if you want to learn more about where Eric is and to follow his journey and to support his work, visit Rio Grande NHA.org. Again, that's Rio Grande NHA.org. Now, Eric, we're in the final segment, and I know we covered a lot of ground from the the treasure of art and culture to the pristine beauty of the uh, heritage area to a horrible situation that is going to take some time to unpack and literally break the cycle of drug abuse in your area. If you can just tell everybody a little bit about, let's take one step back. You didn't wake up one day and just be the executive director of the Rio Grande Heritage Area. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your journey and how you arrived to be in a place where your family has roots in a relationship?
Okay. Well, um, I have been in this role less than a year now, but I came back to New Mexico. Right here.
Mm, That's tremendous. And I'm hoping that the school districts in your area or even outside your area look at developing some kind of living history or some real exchanges of sorts where, every year I see different types of schools send their high school graduating seniors on service mission trips or college students doing the same. Instead of doing a spring break in Cancun, do a spring break in the Rio Grande Heritage area where you can do some service work and hopefully help impact a life, save a life by
That's
either.
a great idea. We harvest some projects with you.
Yeah, I think when you look at, the mission of education overall, many of the school districts, be it, from Texas to some other states nearby, they all have budgets and budgets to teach. And I can only encourage, there be a closer question asked about whether or not some of these school districts want to create a relationship, an educational partnership, even by Zoom if necessary, virtually, just to kind of get the ball rolling. And I would think that could be an additional pipeline of resources or support to help
That's a good idea. I
bring
like that.
attention.
Yeah, I mean, so nothing better.
That's right.
Let's see.
And I'll give you one more nudge. Look, my son was in the fourth grade last year, and his for science. He had to study landscapes, and so being able to connect that textbook to a person or a park where those landscapes are, it could be a truly life-changing experience because you not only learn the content better, but you're able to relate to it because you see someone like Eric Vasquez out there trying to save and preserve and protect the art, culture, the history of the landscape. So I definitely look forward to continuing that conversation because, there's a lot unfortunately lost in this age of social media, but there's so much to gain if we can find better ways to use it to, our human advantage.
Yeah, we can't go back to the old way. We call it.
And to me, it sounds like, there could be a great project for housing, like sustainable housing, building
Yeah,
homes. There you go. Building homes that don't require connections to the sewer or, be it a combination of solar and geothermal. I think, there's something to be said about climate change and creating a whole new need to find new places to go where, the extreme weather doesn't have such an impact. My heart goes out to Hawaii, by the way. It's a terrible
no, I
situation
hear
out
that.
there. And that's another service mission, and I'm pretty sure Jim Kaloran, who's listening right now, is probably going to be on the next plane to Hawaii to help. So go, Jim, go. Jim Kaloran runs the Fuller Center and does disaster relief. True, true, true regional hero. So hats off to Jim. But absolutely. And so I mean, look, I'm truly, truly excited to have had this conversation about the Rio Grande Heritage Area, and it piqued my interest in some of the other heritage areas in New York. I've actually been through some of them as I look at the map, but I can tell you that everybody, you got to check out what Eric Vasquez is doing out in the Southwest at the Rio Grande Heritage Area. You can find out more about him at riograndenha.org. And the work that he's doing is truly, truly, truly tremendous. From growing, protecting and preserving the culture to growing an economy now and breaking the cycle of poverty. Eric, we're running down in the final minutes of the show. Any final thoughts that we didn't get a chance to touch upon before we go?
A lot. Just and with Ivan. you tell your comment. You want to learn more about what we're doing in the region.
I look forward to it. I know that my wife and I were talking about getting out to the Southwest. I have family out in Oklahoma that I haven't seen in a while, and Colorado. So, definitely going to put North New Mexico, going to put Rio Grande Heritage Area on the list because I can tell you right now, the Los Luceros looks amazing. And, my wife being petrified of ghosts is a great place for me to take her because, she'll she'll beat me up for saying that, but nonetheless, I'm really truly excited about getting out to visit, and I look forward to doing the show out there. Maybe if the weather, if time permits, maybe this fall can work. I'm really excited about learning
You
about
let us
this.
know. We'll
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And everybody, again, that's Rio Grande NHA.org. Tremendous asset, national treasure, and confronting real problems of the community. So proud of the work that you're doing. Looking forward to contributing to the
thank you
effort
for
to
the
break
show.
the cycle. Thank you so much. That was our show for this week. We'll be back next week at noon. Don't change that dial.